Okay, next we're going to talk about the algorithms for subtraction. So, let me just do some examples. Example number 1. Let's say I have 45 minus 8. So it's very similar to addition. I'm going to just write down 45 minus 8. Again, because they are just whole numbers, so I just need to line up to the right. Line up the numbers to the right. Line up to the right. Right? So 45 has 2 digits, the ones place and the tens place, and 8 only has 1 digit, but you just line up the numbers to the right. Okay? And then just kind of just like do it. So if you look at each digit, each place, 5 minus 8, it's not possible, right? So you have to borrow it. So you look at the tens place. So I'm going to cross out the 4 and I'm going to put a 3. And then instead of the 5, I'm going to look at the 5 as 15. So 15 minus 8. So you can think about if you have 15 donuts, you take away 8 donuts, you have 7. Okay? And then since you change the 4 to the 3, and then 3 minus blank minus 0, so you still get 3. And again, this is where the answer is going to be. 45 minus 8 is 37. And the answers to subtraction is called difference. So we can say that the difference between 45 and 8 is 37. So next one, example number 2. Let's say I have 257 minus 91. So again, I'm going to write down 257 minus 91. You have to be really careful when you're doing subtraction, because as we talked about in the previous video, the order of subtraction does matter. So if the question is 257 minus 91, you must put the 257 on the top. Okay, so I'll say must put the first number on the top. Okay, so this is like the first number. That's what I mean by the first number, and that's the second number. You must put the first number on the top. And yeah, it's not because it has 3 digits, it's because it comes first. Okay? So we have 7 minus 1, it's 6. 5, you cannot take away 9 from 5, so you have to go borrow the 2. So change the 2 to 1 and make the 5 to a 15. And look at 15 minus 9, you get 6. 1 and subtract 0, it's just 1. So the answer we have is 166. The difference between 257 and 91 is 166. Okay, let's do another one. Example number 3. Let's do 500 minus 23. So again, put the first number on the top. So 500 minus 23. So, well, you cannot do 0 minus 3, but you could do 10 minus 3, right? So you are trying to borrow it from the tens place. But unfortunately, it's also 0, so you cannot borrow it, right? So you have to go ahead and use the hundredths number, which is the 5. So I'm going to change the 5 to a 4 and make this a 10, right? So now let's look back to the first digit, to the 1's digit right here. I need to borrow from the 10, so I have to make the 10 a 9 first, and then make the 0 a 10. Okay, and now we can do 10 minus 3, which is 7. And for the second place, for the 10th place, we have a 9. 9 minus 2 is 7. At the end, we have a 4, and minus 0, that's 4. 477. Okay. Next one, example number 4. So let's do something that's crazier. Let's do like 1,000 minus 58. So let's do practice this kind of borrowings again. So let me write down 1,000 first, right? Because it's coming first, right on the top. Minus 58. So we have to keep track, because when you want to subtract 8 from 0, it won't work, right? It's not possible. So you have to borrow. You have to go to the 10th place and try to borrow. But the 10th place, it's against 0, so you have to go to the 100th place. But the 100th place, it's against 0, so you have to go to the 1,000th place. So make the 1 to be a 0, and make the 0 a 10. Well, I want to get back to the original place, the 1st place. So I'm going to make this a 9 and make that a 10. Right? I have to take this one more step though. Now I can finally borrow 1 from the 10th place. I need to cross out the 10, make that a 9. And then finally, I can make the 1st place a 10. Okay? So 10 minus 8 is equal to 2. Moving to the 10th place, 9 minus 5 is equal to 4. And then 9 minus 0 is equal to 9. And then 0 minus 0 is equal to 0, so you don't need to bother to write that down. The answer, 942. The difference between 1,000 and 58 is 942. So you just have to kind of practice the borrowing. I think subtraction is a little bit harder than addition in terms of to do the work, right? Because you have to borrow, and it's hard when you have to do the borrowing in these kind of situations. One more, example number 5. Let's do 2,501 minus, let's say, 312. Yeah, 2,501 minus 312. Again, so far we are just talking about positive whole numbers. So when you are doing subtractions, right, it only makes sense if you have a big number, take away a smaller number. So set this up. I need to put the first number on the top, 2,501, and then I'm going to subtract 312. Line up the numbers to the right. Okay, can we take away 2 from 1? No, right? So again, you need to try to borrow it from the 10th place, but this is equal to 0. So you have to go to the next place, the next number. I will need to cross out the 5, make that a 4, so that I can make this a 10. And now I can cross out this 10, make that a 9, so that I can make this a 11. Right? Because you borrowed 10 from this number. Right? You borrow 1 from this number, so you make that 11. So we have 11 minus 2, we have 9. And next I have 9 minus 1, we have 8. And then this is no longer a 5, it's a 4, right? So 4 minus 3, we have 1. And lastly, you have 2, just bring that down. So 2,501 minus 312, it's equal to 2189.